Hey, I'll be quick with this one. So I'm just going to do a quick update for the Sutherland Hall Council thing. So we had our first meeting. That went well. That was mostly for the non-alcoholic mixer we're having next week. I think that's a really cool idea. Just to have the social event where you don't have to drink. There's obviously like other ones on campus, but it's a really cool thing that the RSA the whole councils are basically coming together to throw this event, which is really interesting. So we as a council have to form our own drinks and have a table to like set up and then basically give it out on the day of. Besides that though, I'm working on a budget tracker sheet for the whole council as a whole. From what I understand, we have a $900 budget for the year. That could be slightly overinflated, slightly like maybe it's more, maybe it's less, maybe I'm missing something here and there. But from what I got from our RD resident director, we have a $900 budget per the year. So now what I'm doing is I'm creating a sheet that I'll go through in a second. So obviously it isn't done yet, but the idea is just to have like this probably should be item IDs, but the idea is just to have okay, we have events and initiatives, and then we put we allocate a budget to it. So let's say we allocate like $200 to this, and then at the end we say okay, we spend maybe 150, right? And then we say like the remaining balance was $50, blah blah blah. So then from there we can how we can track some stuff. Obviously, it isn't done, but just give a better idea. So for each initiative or event, it has its own separate table. I don't know, I can't speak today, but it has its own separate table, and essentially you can see the stuff here. So then you have like a status update. It's like if we haven't bought it yet, then it's pending. If we have ordered it, then yeah. Then if it's come, it's received. That's pretty much it. It's nothing crazy. I think there's obviously a couple more stuff I want to add. Like for example, with the actual individual events or initiative pages, I want to have a diagram just to show how much of the budget is allocated and how much is left, right? So I think that's a cool way to just keep up to date with stuff. Obviously, there's like probably a shortcut where I can just do the number, but I think it looks more fun. I do think one of the biggest challenges, especially working in a team, is that you have to convince people to use stuff. Like if you say, okay, let's use this budget tracker, I doubt people be opposed, but you want people to actually use it. So you obviously don't want to make it too complicated. And on one hand, you can think that's annoying, but I also think it makes sense and it's something you just have to learn in life. So that's what I'm doing now. So I got to meet we had a kickoff event where you met I would say most of the team. This was actually our first meeting. Only one person wasn't there. I do feel bad because I came back from a Mac event and I came back like 10 minutes. I entered the meeting 10 minutes late, which I felt bad because like, dang, I'm the president entering this thing late. But it was fine. The meeting was just starting. I do think it's interesting because now I'm getting a better sense of who everyone is, and how we will possibly operate in the future. I'm based off like that observation. I'm trying to figure out how I should best move as president of the hall council and just see what I can do best to work with this team and just serve the council and hall as a whole. But yeah, really excited. Some cool stuff happening. After this is just a side note because I'm done talking about the whole kinds of stuff. So Google has this notebook LLM thing. I think I'm saying it right. And my brother's been using it, and he's been using it for some cool stuff. So I'm gonna try it out. Seems really cool. The best way to explain it with my base knowledge, I got to use it during the hackathon once, but the best way to explain it is that basically it's retrieval augmented generation, I think. So what happens is that you really just upload AI is training on a bunch of data. Let's say AI is training a bunch of files or whatever. It uses billions of files and data to give you responses, right? But now what the idea of the notebook LLM is, I think, is to personalize that AI to you. So you upload specific files and specific data, and then it works off that to have a more tailored AI chatbot or just a more personalized AI. Because from what I've seen, it's able to make podcasts off the content you give it. So one thing my brother did with it was like he had a podcast of this thing he was studying, which is really interesting. He also did one about himself. So I really just want to do that to see like what the AI says. I think it's really cool. I've been talking about this for a while now. I do think it's really going to revolutionize the education game. I think for a good amount of students, it's becoming easier and easier to succeed in school, while the rate at which school is challenging these students is not it's not increasing at the same rate, and that's for better and for worse. On the good side, on the better side, I do think it helps that a lot of students are able to now succeed. Um, and this the way I, with this is under the assumption that they're not using it to cheat and whatever. But like they're using it as new study methods, and it's really interesting for like students who didn't probably who the previous study methods still not work best for them. These new options really provide um it just provides a new way for more people to succeed, right? And that's really for the better. And then more people succeed, more people are educated, more people are educated, we come to more solutions as a society. You have that cool stuff. But on the worst side, you also have the um what I said before, you also have the issue of cheating. So now it's easier for students to cheat. And obviously, I think some people have seen the memes of like when you're being operated by a doctor, but he used ChatGPT to get through his medical school. And obviously, that's not how that fully works. But it does present a concern in the sense of like for like, an essay, you could use ChatGPT to generate the whole thing, and obviously you can tell. But in my opinion, I do think in a couple of years or maybe even by the end of next year or next 2 years, it's going to become harder and harder to tell. I know some companies are talking about having a flag or something in the AI response. Like I think in the metadata of the text and metadata, from what I understand, is basically like once you have a picture, you don't. There's more to the picture than just what you see. So inside a picture has the type of camera was taken on, it has the date it was taken, all that cool stuff. That's the metadata. So data about data, right? So I think the idea is to have some flag in the metadata of the text response. But in my opinion, even if you did that, you could still change that metadata or just find a way to get rid of it. Like for example, one way I just think of in my head, and if they did like some cool, crazy thing that really encrypted it so you couldn't change it, you could just do a screenshot and just use like the camera to use the camera app to just highlight and select it, right? There's obviously other ways, but maybe the flag is in like the format of the response, which I don't think will be any different from what there is now. Um, but largely, I got kind of the sidetrack there. But largely, I do think in a couple of years, I do think it's going to become harder and harder to tell what is AI, right? So I feel like the education system shouldn't fight a losing battle. I definitely think there are cases where you can avoid the use of AI. Basically, like when you're writing an essay in person, and like writing it by hand and stuff like that. But I also think you can implement new tests and new quizzes. I was talking about this on the application the other day, but I think maybe even something where a student has, and these are already tests that happen, but a student has to like teach a topic, right? And then instead of, if you want to make it less tedious, you could probably try having AI models like act as a student and like see how well the student is able to teach a topic. So you're able to test people on a wider scale. Obviously you come into issues of like how does the AI grade the student, and the AI being a black box itself. So it's like it's hard to know if they actually graded fairly. Um, but yeah, I do think it does present new ways. I think what the education system really has to do now is just update. I think even beyond AI, I do think the education system, I guess, largely in good part due to AI, I think the education system, specifically in the United States, is going to it's going to have some revolutionary changes soon. I know that just I feel like I I would have to research it more to be more confident, but just like one of those tingly sense of stuff where I feel like the AS system, the education system has to change. I don't say radically, but with how the country works, I don't think it can change that radically. But I do think the way it works is going to change substantially. I think that's going to be interesting to see. But besides that, I have nothing else to say. So have a great day.